who mentioned cable. Is this essentially an industry that's going to die slowly or rapidly as it's replaced first by wireless and then by direct optical cable?
No, I would say on the contrary, on the wireline side, they are better positioned than AT&T or Verizon because they are extracting more revenues per household because of their TV services. So they are the best position to make the investment in fiber, I would argue.
There's another, the other thing that people miss is that the cable systems are built out in the U.S. and they run a lot of fiber by houses, but they also run them by these base stations. So when you go by the base station, then you can go to the wireless carrier there, and there might be 4 carriers on the tower, and you sign up one of them, and they backhaul over the cable network.
And they've started to do that.
And that's happening all over the place, yeah.
And who are the best positioned cable companies for this?
I would say
There's
Cox is the most aggressive in terms of, Cox Communication is kind of very aggressive in terms of their Ethernet services and so on and so forth. They do have, I think that's what you were getting at, they do have a slight risk at this point of what they call over-the-top television, which is just not bypassing cable altogether, just having a broadband pipe coming to your home and watching internet TV through Hulu and other sites out there. But that's a different problem infrastructure-wise. I agree with Frank, infrastructure-wise they're better positioned in terms of having HFC all the way up and fiber to the node, if not to the home.
So in what ways is the U.S. wireless broadband industry more advanced or not as advanced as some of the other countries? So for example, some people mentioned in South Korea, Japan. And what explains for the reasons why the U.S. is either more advanced or not as advanced? And what are some of the areas in which this country is moving ahead of other countries, or is it, or in fact is moving behind other countries?
So I think you have a topic for the next Enterprise Forum. It's a huge question. Okay, I'll take one.
I can take a quick,
two answers. Yeah, two answers.
Quick
to
stab
this,
at it.
and then we're going to
wireless. And this is strictly my point of view. In the wireless, we are not as advanced as the rest of the world, or at least we were not till we go to 4G, where we should catch up, because we follow the free market principles. We let all the protocols come into the being, and because of that, there was not a unique ecosystem which got developed, which it did in the rest of the world, but GSM was a chosen standard. So that, by the nature of free market, we got left behind a little bit because of that. In the wired infrastructure, US is very different from South Korea. You can wire Europe and South Korea because they're not as big countries. It's very hard to do that in the US. So there's a big geographical disadvantage from that perspective, where we can never have that kind of fiber penetration, for example.
Gotcha. One last answer to this question, and then we'll give everyone a chance to say what they want.
Okay, so no, I agree with you, Sandeep, that basically US has taken, I think for a change, taken a head start on 4G. So Verizon and AT&T are the first 2 big operators in the world to start LTE, and this is, as Sandeep said, this is a scale business. I mean, an early adopter business. If you are early in the game, you can set the market direction in a number of ways. The ecosystem starts developing around it. The applications, the devices, and all those systems start converging. So for a change, earlier, I agree that in Europe and Asia were ahead of us in terms of 3G and 2G wireless, but now for a change with higher smartphone penetration as well as LTE head start, we are ahead of the game.